I'm Colleen Holder and this is Let's Talk Tobago. Today we're coming to you from Fort Milford. As the story about this place goes, a settlement of Dutchmen under the protection of the Duke of Courland was briefly located here around 1642. It's not clear how long that lasted, but it's believed that from about 1770, the British Army maintained a picket post here and the militia manned a 2-cannon battery on the site until 1781. Then ownership changed hands again. Why and who got it as our program continues. But first, let's take a look at our stories this week. The island now has not one but 3 derbies, and we're not referring to the traditional horse race. A piece of Tobago's history on the big screen, and the children of Calder Hall have a new play park.
It's happening in the east, on the hill, on the waterfront, on the beach. It takes on the world. It's got pizzazz. It's a fiesta, and it's truly an amazing island experience. It's food, fashion, and it's fabulous. The Tobago Jazz Experience, April 20th to April 28th. Much more than music.
If only for one day, it becomes the center of activity for Tobago. Hundreds, including residents and tourists, converging in one spot for the races. But it's no ordinary sprint. This is one of a kind, only to be found in Tobago. Yes, you guessed right, it's the annual Goat and Crab Race Festival at the Buku Integrated Facility. Let's join Davia Chambers to find out why patrons return year after year.
It's the 88th year of the Buku Goat and Crab Race Festival, and it still continues to draw large crowds. The stands are filled. The grounds are packed, as many came to witness what they call a unique sporting event. Men dressed in anything but traditional garb, without shoes, ready to sprint behind 4-legged animals. But it's all part of the mystique of these races.
Fantastic, very exciting, amazing to see the goats run so quickly. No, first time. I've seen horses but not goats.
The atmosphere, the carnival, everybody being so happy and fun. It's really fun.
It's just the excitement and the atmosphere, having a nice beer and lovely weather, and yeah, it's great. It's unique.
It's a really great spectacle. It's very different. The competitors are a lot more intense than I thought they'd be. I just saw one heat, but I watched the facial expressions of the trainers especially, and it was very, very intense and competitive as ice hockey or any sport I've ever seen.
It's really something great to look at because he comes from a horse racing industry, announcing horse races. So for the last few years, that's what we've been seeing, horse races, and to see it done with goats, it's really something to see.
And some enjoy betting on various goats. But while the festival attracts many patrons for varying reasons, it would be nothing without the goats, their owners and runners.
You know, it's a pride. You know, yesterday I won the champion or the derby at Mount Pleasant. Sponsored by BDU, and I felt elated about it.
Few things last and continue to be a hit 88 years later, but from the look of things, the Buku Goat and Crab Race Festival will have no such problem left up to owners, trainers and patrons. I'm Davia Chambers for Let's Talk Tobago.
Still excited by the festival? Well, here's some more. This one takes place one day before and has become synonymous with the Canby Mount Pleasant Sports and Family Day. But this village also wanted to distinguish itself from Buku, so it has done things a little bit differently, ensuring the day of activities is more than just the famous goat races. Omar Mills picks up this story.
For the adrenaline, you can take in the goat races from the sidelines, or you can enjoy the races in the shade and the comfort of the one-year-old pavilion. Either way, hundreds came out to enjoy themselves at the Canby Mount Pleasant 41st Annual Sports and Family Day.
At first I was lost because I didn't expect to see such a great pavilion, because when I was here it was like 20 years ago and it was very strange, but I'm enjoying it so far. I love it.
The fun does not have to end when it is dark. Lights for night activities are another new feature of the sporting grounds.
The facility that we now have here, the pavilion, it was constructed by the Tobago House of Assembly, and which is in excess of $4.5 million. And we also have the lighting fixtures, which is also very expensive. That is also sponsored by the Tobago House of Assembly.
Over the years, the goat racing sport has also developed. In 2012, the Derby goat racing was introduced. It features jockeys and their goats racing a 20 meters bend and then the 100 meters straight to the finish line. This year, the organizers carded not one but 3 Derby races for patrons' delight.
Oh, it's great. It's so exciting. I had no idea that there were going to be jockeys running with the goats. It was, a really big surprise. Really enjoyed it.
Another activity which has grown over the years is the Easter Bonnet Parade. Some patrons choose to view the Easter Bonnet stage presentations, which were followed by the walk down the racetrack. But others, like Marilyn Hooper of Canada, enjoyed her Easter bonnet experience by actually making and wearing her own bonnet.
First, we decided we needed some Easter bonnets because it's Easter after all. You got to celebrate Easter, and if you're going to go to the goat races, you might look good.
Although goat racing was the main attraction, visitors participated in several activities such as the athletic races, the sack race, burst the balloon, ring toss, the balloon throw, and the face painting.
I think the activities is nice. I think the kids enjoy it, you know what I mean? It's more for the kids than adults.
I've always enjoyed the Mount Pleasant experience. I remember as a kid playing punch ball and ring toss, and now that I'm older, it's really good to come back and see that younger kids are still enjoying that kind of activity. And I do enjoy the goat races. Who doesn't enjoy watching goats run down a track? It could be quite exciting.
The Canby Mount Pleasant Sports and Family Day has activities for all persons. And with new facilities and more activities each year, the organizers are thankful for the support. I'm Umudara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
We're staying a bit longer with the leisure theme to tell you that the children of Calder Hall now have a play park. Theirs is part of a bigger plan to construct recreational facilities across Tobago. So far, 7 are to be built at a cost of just over $7 million. But that money would mean little if the park remains unused by the children in the community. To find out, we sent Davia Chambers to get their views.
That's what they love to do, and that's what they'll get to do at any time, on any day. Children of Calder Hall and environs now have a play park in their very own backyard.
It helps the children and them for them to come out and play and thing, because they don't really have any playgrounds in Calder Hall.
It's more playful, so we could come here like on our weekends, and see how it's Easter. We could come and play, enjoy ourselves.
While there are now 7 such play parks on the island, parent and resident Darren Thomas is glad that his kids won't have to go far to play.
You give them something to do really, and then next thing, you don't have to go too far. Because I have been to the Plymouth Play Park, the Bonaccord Play Park, but now it's right in the backyard, so you know, even if you don't have a vehicle or access to proper transport, it's right here.
He says that this play park will also help his children to love the outdoors.
It's always a good thing to keep children active and fit, you know, according to the entertainer Taurus Riley. You know what he say? The whole world go on computer literate and to the birds and the bees we literate now. So this is something that you could get, definitely the children will come outside and interact with nature and things.
But that won't be an issue with these children. They told us how often they plan to use the play park.
20 times. Every Sunday.
The Calder Hall Play Park caters for the 2 to 12 age group, and the community has unfettered access to it. I'm Davia Chambers for Let's Talk Tobago.
It's time to take a break, but coming up, Lights, Camera, Action, a movie about Tobago's wartime history.
Dwayne Lyons, name of our business is Exclusive Ideologies Limited. I started this business along with my wife Candice in 2005. We tried to expand and offer as much service, as many services. The overall process wasn't too hectic. Well, the grant helped us first upgrade the system. The next one was to get the air conditioning unit. You really need to go out and get yourself knowledgeable about what is up there, because they really have a lot of opportunities out there.
Redefining business, protecting Tobago's heritage.
Welcome back. This is Let's Talk Tobago. Today we're coming to you from Fort Milford. Now, at the beginning of the program, we told you a bit about the history of this place and promised to give you the answer to who finally took control here in 1781. Well, if you guessed the French, then you are completely right. They reclaimed this place from the British, but 12 years later it was retaken by the British, who erected the present fort around 1811. The British maintained ownership until the army left Tobago in 1854. Now let's stay with history as we delve into the details of our next story. It's a script about war and death on this island over the riches and ownership here. And an international film crew wanted to recreate some of it to capture Tobago's history on the big screen. Omadar Mills reports.
One part of Tobago's history is on land, at the forts and in villages, but another can be found under the waters which surround the island. More than 300 years ago, Rockley Bay was the scene of a bloody battle between the Dutch and the French, where 20 ships sunk and thousands died. Today, a German film company, Ocean Discovery, is in the process of documenting and recreating this piece of Tobago's history.
The battle is even more important. These are two superpowers of the day that were creating war on a little insignificant island called Tobago. That's a major fact in the life of Tobago. And it had nothing to do with slavery, it had to do with war and trade.
The docudrama is entitled Tobago 1677, and producer Kevin Kenny says shooting here provided employment for many locals during the 3 weeks of filming.
98% of the actors are Tobagonians, and the others were a few who are married to Tobagonians. In terms of the lighting and support staff, 100% Trinidad and Tobagonian staff. None of them, everybody was, all that equipment came from Trinidad. And a number of the assistants to the international cameramen were all locals.
The movie was shot at some of the island's pristine spots, including Paletovier and Killigwin Bay.
We were able to find many locations, starting with the fort, which was quite interesting. We were able to enact the Battle of Dutch Fort at Fort King George with very minor modifications to the fort.
One of the locals attached to Tobago 1677 is musician John Arnold. He says that he was willing to contribute his musical expertise to the film because he believes that it strengthens the image of the island on the world stage.
I'm very, very passionate about the movie because I'm very strong about culture, and I'm very strong about the fact that I think one of the greatest competitive advantages we have is definitely our cultural, historic heritage.
Mr. Arnold, who is also the tourism event coordinator in the Division of Tourism and Transportation, says that human and infrastructural resources were not the only contributions made by the THA.
But of course, if one was to quantify many of the other things that the THA is supporting this initiative in a very big way.
And the film producers believe that the making of this film on the island can enhance the technical skills of locals in the film industry and increase tourist arrivals to the island. Over 3 years of research went into pre-production, and if all goes as planned for the post-production, the docudrama can be out as early as August 2013. I'm Omadar Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
We're going to fast forward to 2013 to take you to our next piece. You might remember the unusually high waves Tobago experienced in recent months. The surfers say it was ideal, but one thing the Met Office at the Tobago Emergency Management Agency TEMA felt was that the beach was no place for bathers. It was a situation that brought the role of our lifeguards into sharp focus. Lisa Marie Bonaparte explains.
For some surfers, the conditions are ideal and an opportunity to show off their skills.
Yeah, today is a pretty, say more than average day of surfing. As you could tell, the ocean is about 10 foot. So there's precautions to be made. I advise swimmers not to be swimming today. Leave this for the guys who know what we're going. I wouldn't say pros, but the guys who live for this.
Sheldon Johnson is a lifeguard at Mount Irvin Beach facility. His is a career that spans 10 years looking out for beachgoers just like Jason. He says it's admirable that Tobagonians are careful about the beaches.
Yes, relatively low, because usually the time I hear jungle in Tobago is some behind the back of beach and nobody do go at all.
Hamlet Chadband, the patrol captain of the Charlottesville station, has been a lifeguard for 32 years. Today, he is happy the lifeguards have an opportunity to prepare ahead and do what they could with the equipment they already have. Hamlet is responding to a rough seas bulletin that has been issued for both Trinidad and Tobago.
We do our best at all times to minimize any accident and drowning and stuff like that. That's what we are about.
Charlottesville is popular with tourists, but Hamlet has some general advice that he says they and others should keep in mind.
July, August is a very, very nice season. The water is always nice them times. Sometimes we have in the Easter, like coming up this Easter coming up here, we have good seas. Most times, not all the times, but most times. But July, August is the best time.
The patrol captain says that while the game fishing tournament in Charlottesville is on hold, he's hoping to give the tourists an even better experience, which he says will come with improved facilities, so that when the game fishing tournament does come around again, the lifeguards would be prepared.
If we want to have a destination, as a tourist destination, we want to attract people here, we must have a level of safety, especially on beaches.
Ideally, Hamlet would increase the complement of lifeguards and equipment at the Charlottesville station. He, along with other residents, agree and feel that with minor improvements, the village of Charlottesville will be on the same level of development as the rest of Tobago, and in the end, perhaps even more attractive to beachgoers. I am Lisa Marie Bonaparte for Let's Talk Tobago.
March 21, a date that may mean nothing to you, but to millions around the world who live with Down syndrome, it's their chance to bring attention to the discrimination they face on many levels. Studies show that persons with Down syndrome face stigma and segregation, physical and psychological abuse, as well as lack of opportunities. But Tobago wants to ensure this island isn't counted as one of those societies. Sophie Guillaume tells us what's being done.
Karen Gaffney is the first person with Down syndrome to complete a relay swim across the English Channel. She also swam 9 miles across Lake Tahoe.
And I made that swim in about 2 hours and 15 minutes.
For many, this is proof that persons with Down syndrome can lead normal lives. Down syndrome commonly affects one's learning ability, physical characteristics, or health. But research shows that adequate access to health care, early intervention programs, and inclusive education, as well as appropriate research, can help with growth and development. It's part of the reason there's a push to ensure persons with Down syndrome aren't left behind. Julie Hammond, the mother of 2 children with Down syndrome, says it takes continuous work to get mainstream society on board.
Inclusion in the United States is a right, but it's not easy. It doesn't mean that we just go to our neighborhood school and they happily open the doors and everything works wonderfully. We've had to learn a lot along the way. We've learned the very importance of advocacy and knowing kind of when to pick our battles.
The United Nations estimates that every year about 3,000 to 5,000 children are born with Down syndrome. In Tobago, the numbers from the Division of Health and Social Services shows that there are about 900 persons on the island with this chromosome disorder. The founder and the president of the Tobago Down Syndrome Family Foundation in Tobago, Glenn Niles' son, is one of those persons. Glenn says he only fully understood the concept of inclusion after attending a Down syndrome conference in the United States.
I still couldn't believe it, because nothing like that was happening in Trinidad. I never saw anybody or heard about anybody with Down syndrome doing anything even close to that. Another thing I realized by attending the conference is that there are persons with Down syndrome on the board of the different organizations. So they are actually part of the decision-making process. That's a part of inclusion that we are way behind on.
But it's work that's continuing. For its part, the Division of Health and Social Services has publicly supported inclusion, putting policies in place to ensure persons with Down syndrome feel included in schools, the workplace and the community. Sophie Guillaume, Let's Talk Tobago.
We're taking a break, but on the other side, a recreational center for the north of the island.
Tobago, ready to provide your community with the highest degree of professional services in emergency response. Contact CIRT Mariah at 660-0065 or CIRT Speyside at 660-6096. CIRT 24-hour services, emergencies, medical or other. CIRT Pro, the new face of emergency management.
This is Let's Talk Tobago. Welcome back. We're at Fort Milford. This facility, as you know, is the result of restructuring done by the British around the year 1811. It includes a series of walls built of cut coral limestone and 6 cannons. 5 of these are British, while 1 was made in France. This is evidenced by the GR emblem that marks all except for 1, which is marked with a Tudor double rose. And you can see it for yourself the next time you visit Fort Milford. And speaking of structures, a proposal is in place for a recreational complex to serve all of Northside Tobago. The complex is expected to be a hub for the management of all sporting facilities from Mount Grace to Bloody Bay. It will be known as the Northside Regional Recreational Complex. Sophie Guillaume has the details.
This proposal envisions that the regional recreational complex will be fashioned after the western side of the Dwight York Stadium.
The plan is not just for this complex, but for all the sporting grounds in Tobago, for the use of mobile bleacher systems to increase seating capacity when needed, so that we are not looking to put down structures that are fixed and in place to take up too much of the open space, because of the varied types of activities that would normally be held at any of our sporting facilities.
The complex is expected to be built in Mariah, and this is the presentation stage, which means there's a working design in place. Nevertheless, the residents are still able to share their concerns and suggestions.
There's a program in Trinidad, I think out of UWI, that they train groundsmen and whatsoever at different level. I want to know whether the Assembly could invest in that and get proper groundsmen to see about all the grounds throughout Tobago.
And Mr. McFarlane gave this commitment.
Recently, the department hired a turf expert, right? Somebody who knows about not just maintaining, but building and creating turf fields. And he's on staff now, and one of his initiatives would be to provide training for other staff.
The project is being undertaken by the Division of Infrastructure and Public Utilities on behalf of the Department of Sport. The division will return to the village of Mariah for residents' final approval before putting out a tender for a contractor. Sophie Guillaume, Let's Talk Tobago.
And it's time to have your say, the segment of our program where we hear from you, the viewers. Now, as you might know, goat and crab racing is a big part of life in Tobago, at least during the Easter vacation. Some locals love it, and most visitors are amazed at the ingenuity of it. Few have ever seen anything like it. The races take on a life of their own, so we wanted to know, what do the goat and crab races mean to you? This is what you said.
I'm from Trinidad already, but my grandmother from over here. I live in over here now, and we used to always come from Quite Point to watch the goat race. So it's a tradition, right? But what I feel they should do now is 2 lesser race. They're supposed to have it annually. But I see, during the year then, not just for Easter alone.
I find with the time and thing where they cut it off, yeah, I find it could have been a little longer. Yeah, but it was nice and thing, and it's a good thing they're doing. So I hope they keep up a good work and make sure every year we get something nice every year. So could get more people to come along and live loving and thing.
The goat and crab races is very unique. You can't find that anywhere in the world. So organized and so well instituted. The best thing I've ever seen in my life is that. It's better than horse racing and all the other things.
It's something that's been going on for years, you know, and everybody look forward to be there to see this unusual race. Understand? There's only, I think this is the only place you hear about great race and crab race.
I have family at Buku, so we go down, we cook, we eat, we drink, we laugh, enjoy the day. Close the book for a while, close the work for a while, enjoy. Family and friends meet up for the longest while. Everybody come out on that day to just relax, you know, meet friends and family, you know, long time friends. They see for the longest while, decide to leave the home and come out.
I'm calling my sister and tell her, I say, Miriam, come, look at the crab race and look at the Mr. win it, and a lot of people are jumping up and, you know what I mean, and enjoying itself. So my sister said, well, when them people come down, they like that and they just enjoy it, and they should continue and get a little more activities to build up with the goat race.
It's a strange thing, you know, crab race. So it's just a fun.
As a Tobagonian, knowing the fact that it's an unusual sport, you know, and a lot of foreigners look forward to seeing it, you know, witnessing it, you know. And Tobago look forward to witnessing it too, because it's not a usual race, you know, like horse race and normal track and field and thing, you know. It's different.
In a way, heritage, like something that's been around for the longest while. See, and I like the fact that how they come and nicen up Boko and down Mount Pleasant and thing, so the place gonna be more attractive, you know, to us and plus to the tourists too now.
And that's how we leave you on this week's edition of Let's Talk Tobago. Do remember you can now send us your comments to information@tha.gov.tt or visit us at www.tha.gov.tt. Remember to like us on Facebook and add us to your YouTube playlist. I'm Colleen Holder, and on behalf of all of us at the Department of Information, have a safe and enjoyable week. And as we go, here's a final look at Fort Milford.